Hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us on tonight's edition of Majority Caucus. Tonight we have a very important issue to discuss. Likewise, an important personality to take us through the discussion. Sorry for the late start of the program. Obviously, we had some, technical hitches, and the directors and the technicians are working around the clock to resolve that. Once again, you are welcome to the show. My name is Ali Dawood. In case you don't know, Article 2431 of the 1992 Constitution mandates the President to elect, or if you like, appoint DCEs. I'm talking about District Chief Executives. And after that, they need to go and get approval from the District Assembly. And they need not less than 2/3 of majority vote. When you are a nominee for a DCE position and you're able to go through all this requirement, then you become a DCE. But it looks like we have been observing a rather worrying trend lately that some nominees have not been successful in terms of getting the approval from their district assembly. And as to why that is happening, I'm sure there are some serious political undertones there. If it is a cause of satisfaction or dissatisfaction within the districts, we will be told here by my guest tonight. I have been joined in the studio by Honorable Baba Jamal. He is the Deputy Minister for Local Government and also the MP for Akwatia. I'm sure the constituency is correct. Thank you very much, Honorable, for your time.
Thank you.
Honorable, are you concerned with the rate of rejection? Some people are saying this is most alarming. I don't know if you share the same view.
Yeah, Ali, let me say good evening to our viewers and listeners. There's no cause for alarm at all. There are people who are trying to create a storm out of a teacup. In fact, what is happening now is not different from what happened in 2009, in 2005, and in 2001.
Okay.
The rejection or otherwise of DCs has been part of the system that we are running. And when you have a system like this, surely you have issues that come up when you are appointing a DCE. Not everybody will want to agree with what the president has done and how the processes went on.
Okay.
So it is not alarming. The only thing that I will say is that because we have now more districts,
okay,
we started with just about 110 districts in 1988, okay, and then it increased to 170 by 2000, and now it is 216.
That's big.
So when, for example, if you have 110 and 10% is rejected, it is 11. Mm-hmm. If you have 216 and the same 10% is rejected, you have how many?
This time is larger.
You have 20-something. And so you would think that it is many, but in terms of percentage and whatever, it is not really a problem. But you see, let's even come to the current situation. We have three types of DCs, and let's make it clear. We have 216 MMDAs, that means all the district assemblies, metropolitan, municipal, and district chief assemblies. Out of that, about 45 are new districts that were created, those whose terms of office have not even ended. So those 45, in fact, only 9 were not appointed. In fact, all were appointed but except 9. So 46 minus 9, we have 37. So 37 were appointed. Those 37 and those districts where people were removed and replaced. For example, we have places like West Akim, we have places like in Sawama Drojiri, all those places where people were removed and replaced. So their term of office also is not ended.
Okay.
So when you have that situation, all those people we are not touching. And I'm talking about close to about 80 people. 80 districts that are not going to be touched at all. Now, when we come to the second group, are those places where were not, where we didn't appoint the DCEs, the 9 places I'm talking about. And then places where their district chief executives have become MPs or have been appointed ministers. We have situations like Obuasi, Brim North, and all those places. Those places are considered as new places that are going to be, new nominations will be done. Okay. So those people will be fresh people that are going to be appointed. Then we have the large group of DCs who have been in office for 4 years. Those who have been in office for 4 years, the president is doing an assessment of them. With them, they will not go for interview as other people went for interview. Okay. Their work and what they have done so far is what was being assessed, and based on that, they are either retained or removed.
So when they are retained, they don't need a 2/3 majority.
No, they will go through the assembly.
Okay.
I'm talking about in terms of the nomination. Okay. Whether they will be renominated or not. Okay. If they are renominated, they will still go through the assembly before they will finally be approved. Yeah. But they will have to be renominated first. Okay. You know, there was another 33 that have been asked to hand over. So they are out. The rest who have been renominated, there are people who are complaining. You see, maybe Ali, let me even take you through the process of what we use this time. Okay. When the president took office, he mandated a committee to look into those things. And the committee, the process that started was to start from the districts. Okay. So in the districts and the constituencies and whatnot, a smaller group was asked, like a search party, to receive applications. Okay. And in some constituencies, 45 people applied. Oh. Some 30, some 25. They all applied.
Huge numbers.
So when these huge numbers are applied, we mandated the district to look at them and prune them down.
Shortlist.
From there, they shortlisted and took it to the region. Okay. Then the region will also conduct its own investigation and interviews and whatnot and shortlist them to 3. It is these 3 that comes to the national level. Okay. So no name has been mentioned that came from outside the 3. There's people who are raising some issues about Salaga.
So let me be clear. The president gets to see only the final 3.
Only the final 3, which is also coming from you. Okay. It's not coming from anywhere. And interestingly, went out of the 3, because once you bring the 3, it means that any of the 3 that has been brought to the national level can be appointed
and qualified. Yeah.
So if they are appointed, then the same people, some people start saying no because their choice of out of the 3 was not appointed. And this is where the problem comes from. We say that you cannot have everything. That's why we say that at the end of the day, one should be appointed. So when these 3 finally comes to us and we appoint one, it is from you, it's not from us. It's from the same grassroots. The person from the constituency is a member of our party. He has worked for the party. He is a Ghanaian.
But Honorable, the problem is that they don't believe in the transparency of the scrutiny of the list. They think that, there are some considerations, some even alleged bribery.
Yeah, that is why I have given you the process. So if, for example, you go to your constituency and go and apply. Okay. If you come to me in Accra, what I'll tell you is that go back to your constituency. And several people will call you, oh, how? I say, no. The process starts from your constituency. I cannot bring you from your constituency when you have not been selected by your constituency people or your district people. You understand? So the process doesn't start from, it's a bottom-up approach, not a top-down approach. Okay. So if the people give you, so you see, the 3 categories, as I'm saying, where they are sitting DCEs, they are not going to go through any interview. Okay. They are going to be assessed by the president. Okay. And you see, in assessing them, a lot of factors are taken into consideration. One, the party itself is asked, the party on the ground, is asked to bring its own report. Okay. the administration of the district, in terms of the district itself, the work, that is its performance in the district, is also has its own report. The security service or the national security also does its own investigation and bring its report. Then the president also have his own way of consulting certain opinion leaders within the system. So you see that about 4 reports come to the president. So if you, in your report, maybe didn't agree with somebody, only one, remember that there are other reports that will be considered.
Yes. So the majority view will be carried.
So the majority view will be carried. Unfortunately, some of our party members or some of the people who are doing the agitation, when you ask them, they say, look, we wrote petition to the president. Yes, it was only one of the several petitions the president might have received. Yeah. So where the president is sitting, he's seeing a lot more than we are seeing. You understand? We are seeing more than what we are seeing. So in this situation, what we want people to understand that the process was as transparent as possible. The people, sometimes the people who come to us, we didn't select, because if somebody is coming from Bunkuru, I will not know the person.
No, certainly.
I don't know.
It has to take the constituency executive.
The constituency executives, the security agencies there, the opinion leaders in the constituency, and the administration of the place. These are things that are factual, that is based on which the president makes his decision. So when the president makes his decision, then people say that it's not transparent, or some people. I see, Ali, we have over 100. Less than 15 has had problems.
Okay. Unfortunately, in the media,
but
it has
been ballooned the impression
and
exaggerated. About a few hundred has been rejected. The whole of Western region, there has not been any rejection so far. We've had a peaceful run. Voter, we have not had any news yet, even though we know some undertones, of course. Eastern region, we had 2. Suhum and Samuel's place, the Okweu area. But even the Suhum, when he went back the second time, he was accepted. It's central region that I think we had a maximum of about 4 or 5. And even there, Sikumo Dobin, he was rejected the first time. The constitution mandates him to go the second time. He went and he was accepted. There have been only 2 places that they have rejected them 2 times. You understand? But all put together, all the rejections put together across the country is just about 15, and by less than that.
I see. But Honorable, if all these things are done, and of course the transparency can be trusted, what really is causing this, if you like, grassroots disaffection? I'm not saying the DCE should be chosen solely on the preferences of grassroots, but the whole district in perspective. What really should be causing this disaffection?
You see, my brother, several factors come into play. There are some who think that their view must be taken by all means. It is either their views or nobody's view. There are other people who are also interested in the position of the DCE, who are underground inciting people to do that. There are others also who, out of hatred for or some problem with the DCE, and we know some of the stories that come to us, is interesting. When somebody wants a contract in the district and he doesn't get, it's enough that the district chief executive must go.
You say they didn't put them into youth employment.
Youth employment. He wants school fees for his child. He was not given. So that's all. It's enough for the district chief executive to go. It doesn't matter whether he's done well or not. So several factors come into play. And so you can't really pinpoint one and say, depending on the circumstances, sometimes you take it case by case. Where, for example, in Central Georgia place, you see that it is government appointees who thought that the DCE didn't give all the contracts to them, and for that matter, he must go. So when you have a situation like that, it becomes difficult to control. You understand? So several factors come into play, but the most important thing is that, is it a new phenomenon?
I don't think so.
This has, in 2005, we saw what happened in this country. A lot distractions and whatnot. where this issue of sacking even government appointees, it didn't start today.
No.
It is part of the process. If you see that some government appointees want to be too difficult and will not want the process to go on, the only way is that their time is up, then go out, because they are supposed to serve for 2 years.
Okay.
And they have to be reappointed. So if you have served for 2 years and you want to create problem, you will not be renominated. That's all.
That's all.
You will not be renominated. That's also when we were sacking some, when we were removing some distance, we didn't say we renominated other people.
Okay. Based on their good work.
Based on their good work. So what we need to understand is that this is not a new thing, and those people who want to create the impression as if the whole country is on flames with this, when less than 15 has been so far, unless maybe there's any new I have not heard. And then the latest is about Bosa also.
Yes.
And putting together. Even you have listed some of them.
I have Woodlands District, I have Asin North and Asin
Put them
South.
together and put everything together and compare it to over 100 that has been announced, and see what is it an alarming rate that people do. But I want to assure Ghanaians that the process is transparent. It didn't come from the top. No name came from headquarters.
I see.
No name came from
Flagstaff House. They said the president will take the ultimate
yes,
blame.
The president, of course. I mean, practically.
I want us to, before we move to whether or not you agree, per public proposals, DCE should be elected. Let me take your mind back again. People are saying that, well, Deputy Minister, we don't need to measure disaffection by the number of people who are complaining, even if it is a single soul, so long as they are dissatisfied with the president's nomination. It's a matter for national concern. I want you to pay particular attention to what is happening in Kwanta with some NDC, activists remanded by the magistrate court and all this. Your views on them?
Ali, it is all right to show your dissatisfaction when a person is mentioned. I don't need to agree with you on all matters, and I'm free to express my disagreement. I also have every right to protest in every legal way to express my dissatisfaction of your position. And so I have no problem with anybody who says that this man has been appointed, I don't agree, and for that matter, I want to protest, and I will do it the right way. There's no problem with it. It is only when people decide to go to criminal levels, burning cars, destroying property, that one cannot be acceptable.
Certainly not.
That one is now gone beyond legal means, that you have gone into criminality. And when you go into that, the law has to deal with you. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you are a party member or not a party member. When you go beyond bounds, the law has to deal with you. But it is all right to protest. It is all right to express your disagreement with the position that the president has taken or anybody at all has taken. You understand? Because we are all party members. But when you go beyond that, that is where the problem is. But like I'm saying, these issues that are going on, a lot of undertones are there. We know the people who are making some who are even paying people, losing bonuses, so that they will vote against candidates, and people who are, and there is also another even aspect that we have not mentioned. There are places where the DCE has an MP in opposition.
Like an MPP MP, for instance.
MP. So that one also is a point of friction. So if the MP does not, the MPP people do not agree with the DCE, is also likely to also engineer some problem for the DCE. So it's a very difficult and dicey situation. But at the end of the day, I think a lot more DCs have gone sailed through the process without any problem. Most of them have gone through one time. Most of them.
Honorable, another rumor I've heard, of course, I do not want to lend credence to that. The national executives who are mandated to scrutinize some of this list, they are looking for reappointment or re-election. And so they would also want to protect existing DCs, so when they go for election, for national executive portfolios.
You see, all these things are issues that comes on board. And that one, I can also discount that, because we have a situation where somebody was saying that this is a DC that I have been working with. He's a consultancy chairman, and he's saying that this is the DC I've been working with, and we are going to go for election. So he expects that DC to support him for his re-election, and for that matter, if we remove him, he is likely to lose. So these are all factors that play depending on the district and what the personality involved. So, and you see, when it comes to politics, it's about interest.
Yes.
So I will not begrudge anybody for showing his interest or playing his interest. But you need to play your interest within the national interest or the collective interest of all of us. Don't look at you alone. And don't also say that if your man is not appointed, that means the end must come to an end. That, of course, will not be accepted.
Honorable, during the second round of the presidential IEA debate, a question about local governance was put before the candidates, and I remember how eloquently the president answered those questions, giving the proper appreciation and understanding that he indeed knows what local governance is about. Yeah. So one might have thought that, hey, maybe it's time for us to start electing our DCEs, so the president will be free of all this. When you elect, you get the leaders that you deserve.
Yes. I think that the president, having been in politics all this while, we all know his credentials when it comes to the political terrain in Ghana. Somebody who has stayed in parliament for 12 years, of course. There's no aspect of governance that he may not know. Yeah. And also, having been a deputy minister, rising to a minister, becoming the vice president, he has
gone through it all.
Adequate knowledge about the local government system. And I think that he has also expressed his belief in having DCs elected by popular votes, eventually. But we need to make one point clear. As a country, we have started the democratic system, a decentralization system that is working so well. We need to take the issues one by one.
Okay.
Let's not forget the fact that we are a unitary state. And in unitary states, even in Europe, where we say that their democracy is advanced, when it comes to districts and counties, election and whatever, the linkage between the presidency or the national level and the various counties is very, very important.
Absolutely.
If you have a country like Ghana where we know the extremes, for example, we know Ashanti region is for MPP, Volta region is for NDC, and then we have some halfway regions. You need to be careful what local system you have on the ground. I am also for election, but we need to understand what type of election we want. How do we maintain the linkage between the presidency, because the national control over the localities is very, very crucial.
Okay.
Let's take it, for example, we do an open election, and then invariably, all the MMDCs in Ashanti region are likely to be MPP. All the DCs in Volta region are likely to be NDC. So let's take it that we have an MPP president. How will, and the moment you elect them, you are giving them absolute control over their district.
Autonomy.
You cannot remove them. You cannot interfere with their activity.
You have to wait for another year.
You have to wait for another. So whatever he decides, even if it is not in the national interest and he decides to pursue it in his district, you cannot stop him. So how do you marry these two? How do you bring the presidential control or national control or moderation over the district assemblies? That is why there's a proposal that the president will nominate, the Public Service Commission will interview them, and 3 are subjected to the popular vote, which is also an option that we are looking at. So I mean, the president is very committed towards ensuring that we have the election process, but it must be a process that will be very convenient and conducive for our country.
What is the government afraid of, that you grant the district assemblies, like you said, full autonomy so they can properly govern without, powers from the nation interfering?
The district assemblies still depend on the center for support.
Okay.
The common fund is the main blood of the various district assemblies. Government continue to pay their workers from the center. Government continues to subvent a lot of things in the various districts. You understand? So surely if government is paying all these things, then government must have some control over what happens there. What we need to do is that, because the moment you say they should do the total election, is going to have absolute control. Then it means that, for example, what happens in other countries, then they have to pay their own workers, they have to pay their own bills, they have to handle their everything, which we have not gotten to the stage yet as a country. That's why we are saying that we will eventually get there, but let's hasten cautiously.
Okay.
Let's take our time to think through all the processes that we want to use, so that at the end of the day, when we have that election, it will be a situation where it will be a win-win for both the local system and the national system. So it's not that anybody is against the election, but we need to be cautiously, progressive, so that we don't go and stampede ourselves to a level where now we'll have some conflict between the national level and the local level, which is very likely if we are not careful.
Honorable, were you surprised when, for instance, the chairman of the NDC in Greater Accra, talking about the Caucus, when he said, I listened to him on Radio Gold, that based on the consensus at the meeting, they were compelled to submit a petition to the president. It appears that even they themselves, the executives, were not happy.
Yeah, I was
surprised because...
I was a bit also surprised when I heard him, because especially when he was trying to create the impression that they were not, their positions were not taken.
Yes.
And I agree. They might have submitted a list or positions or their report on the various MMDCs, but like I have told you, surely you have other reports coming in, and the president, you see, it's like the president is standing on a story building. All those of us who are standing on the ground, he can see above us. He sees everybody. You understand? But if I'm sitting like you, I may not be able to see what is maybe even behind you. You understand? So, if you submit your position and constitutionally the one in charge takes a position, I think that you must know that your position is subservient to that of the president. And for that matter, it will. And I also was surprised because I know my Adekoka to be a very astute politician, and matters like this are not matters that we discuss in public. Matters like this are matters that because you are a regional chairman,
yes,
and you have access directly to the president. So you could have walked to the president and said, Mr. President, ABC, I think that you got it wrong or it is not right. You understand? But to go to the press and express your dissatisfaction in the press, I think was a bit...
he said it was a consensus decision taken.
Yes, but I didn't think that was the right forum for him to have gone, because he could have used another means to have achieved whatever he sought to achieve with his statements.
Is NDC practicing tribalism and the appointment of MMDCs? Because that was really, if you ask me, one of the mind-boggling issues that came to the fore. I was surprised to hear that some people are saying, hey, you are not a Ga, you are not an Ewe. I thought that was not part of the traditions of NDC.
NDC is the only nationally balanced party in this country.
I have no doubt about
and I'm
that.
saying that without any iota of doubt. In terms of ethnicity, tribal, that's why we call ourselves Congress.
Yeah.
You understand? And I'm telling you that we are the only party that is nationally constituted. And we have a support base that cuts across this country. Because at least we have seats in all the regions.
Oh, yes.
There's no party.
I know a party that doesn't have a seat.
There's no party
in Upper West.
Not only in Upper West, yes, Upper West and Volta region.
Yes.
And even, for example, even in the Upper East, the party has maybe where we have almost 90% or 80% of the control over there. So it tells you, and you see, NDCs will look at our national executive. Look at our composition wherever you go in terms of their constituency executive, national executive, regional executive. You can see that every tribe is adequately represented in it.
Okay.
So we pride ourselves to be a national party, and we are the only national party in this country. And I say that with a lot of pride. You understand? So if anybody tries to bring that kind of ethnic and tribal sentiment in it, the person will surely be fished out and dealt with. Because we don't really give in to those things. We see every tribe as important and equally balanced in our party. So that's why when you come to our party, Ashantis can claim this is our party.
Yes.
So when you talk about Ashantis, you can get somebody like Tony Edu come out. You can get somebody like Ohina Jekum come out. That this is our party. When you go to the Everland, you have people like, of course, plenty of them come out and say, this is our party. You go to the Fantiland, you go to the Upper East, Upper West, everybody is adequately represented. So, ethnicity is not something that we entertain at all in our party. So, anybody who has that, please, should find another party. There are other parties that are tribally biased. They can join those.
I know which party.
You know
it
the
is.
party you have.
Yes, but I won't mention names. I have another question. I want us to go back to the decentralization concept, but let me activate the phone line. So I'm sure my viewers have many submissions they might want to put across 030221170124. Make your submissions as brief as time would allow us. Honorable, the concept of decentralization really was to ease up the functions of government. And indeed, the essence is that government would rather be relieved to implement such a concept. And that the issue of election really would not take government influence on the district. Absolutely. I mean, government will still have some control. And so the argument still is that, hey, you can push forward with the election, but still government must find a way to regulate their actions.
Yeah, but we are pushing it forward. But we are just saying that we should hasten cautiously.
Okay.
Nobody is against it. Nobody is saying that we shouldn't have an electing them. And then when the coalition of whatever went to the president to some funny group I don't understand that the president should they are the coalition for the election of DCEs.
Yeah.
I mean, they went to the president. The president told them point blank that look, eventually we will have it, but we need to be cautious. We need to do A, B, C. Put the structures in place. You have district assemblies that, because of financial reasons, you can't even give them the full complement of their offices. And
they need the help of the central government.
They need the help of the central government.
Let me pick this caller and I'll come back to you, Honorable. Hello?
Hello, Dauda.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear
Dauda.
You. Yes, you're on air.
Yeah, hello.
You're on air.
Yeah, good evening, Dauda.
Good evening.
Yeah, thanks for the good work you guys are doing for the party.
Okay.
I just want to say that as a party that believes in the all-inclusiveness, can't we set up a program that would go around to educate our party members? So for all you know, this interesting program you are educating us, how many of our people will be viewing? So we see that we'll be missing a lot. So I want to suggest that the party hierarchy should fashion up a program so that in the calendar you have time to go to constituencies and educate our people so that we'll stop the behavior we are putting. And I also want to say that those who are engaged in this activity should know that if you work your way through a means that is not good, know that the ball will also bounce you. I just want to take the opportunity to say hi to my DCE.
Okay.
Called Abdul Alabra.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. I have Ibrahim from Takwa. Hello, Ibrahim.
Hello, Lee.
Yes, sir. You're on air.
Okay, thank you. Let me use this platform to say good evening to our most great comrade, Mr. Moses Ama, who learned on that Muspaka. The Christian, we thank him very well. Lee, coming on the issue, I think some level of carefulness must be taken because this appointment of MMDCs is creating a lot of problems. It seems the consultation were not very, very broad because coming down here in our place, our party constituency executives were not consulted. The decision was taken by some individuals in the region, which is very, very bad, and I think it's happening all over the places. I think it is high time some of the leadership should open their eyes and look you very, very well because it's creating a lot of problems.
Okay, thank you very much, Ibrahim. Thank you very much. We don't have much time. I have another caller. Alauji, hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Alauji.
Yes, I'm calling from Wale.
Welcome to Caucus.
Thank you very much. Please, I want to know whether this is the new NDC or the old NDC that we're parting, because I knew very well that the old NDC we were having, where we believe in pure, what do I say, pure justice. And I can see that now the new NDC will not even participate that again.
Okay.
Because all along we've been seeing all this corruption, all this.
Okay. Honorable, you heard some concerns.
Yeah.
Some said all the NDC, some said executives are not really consulted.
Yeah, but you see, it will be interesting. You see, where we are having some of this problem is where we have sitting DCEs.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people rush in to put in applications where they were not supposed to apply.
Even when the person
the person has not finished his term.
Okay.
Could you believe that in places like Adeso and Co, where the person is only 8 months or so in office, people have started applying to remove the person?
It doesn't work that way.
So that was where the problem is. When we have made it clear that where sitting DCEs are, wait until the assessment is finished.
Okay.
Whether the president will retain them or remove them, if today, those who have been asked to hand over, we have already set the ball rolling in getting new names come up so that the new names will be mentioned.
Okay.
But unfortunately, some people rush to do interviews. Even some of our region people went and did some
interviews. Without a proper authorization.
When that was not the actual thing to do. You understand? Okay. So this is what created the problem. So it is sad that some people lived under the impression that when there's a change of government, everybody must go. But if we create that impression too, it is not good for our party.
It's certainly not.
That if I'm appointed for 4 years, no matter how good I perform, if a new government comes, I'm going.
I remember in the days of the late President Mills, he allowed them to sit in office.
Exactly. Yeah. Even opposition DCEs, Professor must allow them to stay in office for some time before they went out. So if we have come and it is the same government, those who have performed creditably, allow them to continue. Those who didn't do well, they should give way for other people to come. But how do you identify them? You can only identify them when you do the assessment of them individually, based on all these reports that I'm talking about. Any constituency that says that they were not consulted, I will be surprised. You understand? I'll be surprised because we asked various party executives to give reports on what is happening in their district. By our party rules, we are supposed to be submitting quarterly reports to our regions.
Okay.
If you have been doing that, the reports will show whether the DC you are working with is performing or not performing. So it is interesting that people are coming out after the appointments have come in to say, oh, we were not consulted, and even sometimes some MPs. Because, and I'm surprised, especially where there are new DCs, an MP can come and say, I was not consulted. When you know there is a process in place, it's elected. People's name people have applied. In fact, all the application didn't come to us direct. It went to the district. It went to the constituency. So how do you say that I sit in Accra that I don't know any of the people you have brought to me? and you are saying that I agree, all these 3 people, any of them who you appoint, I'm okay. I'm going to appoint one. Then the section say, no, I don't want. For example, look at what happened in Cape Coast when 2 factions. One, they both hold a press conference in the day. One say we want the DC, one say we don't want the DC. And they say like DC people.
But finally, because we are running out of time, Honorable, is there any intention to embark on some national education campaign, to sensitize the grassroots?
Yeah, apart from even the party's work, we in the ministry have started that. Yesterday, I ran through 7 constituencies. Could you believe that in one district, a sitting DC who has spent only 2 years in office, because of these appointments, his own officers, staff, when they are addressing letters to him, they say acting DCE.
Interesting. They themselves have removed him.
They have removed him even when his name has not been written. So yesterday I have to run through 7 districts to let people understand that any district that there is a sitting DCE who have not spent his time, he is not going to be touched for now until the president takes a decision on them. Okay. So I want to appeal to our party people especially that look, this process has been very, very transparent. If you have any problem, our doors are open.
Okay.
People are prepared. We are prepared to receive. I was a party executive for a deputy general secretary for 8 years, and for that matter, I know the workings of the party. My doors are always open. My phone lines, I've been using this phone since 1998. I've never changed it. So why not let's engage instead of going on street destroying things and all those things? It's sometimes sad, but I think that. But I must also say this is not a new thing.
Okay.
It is something that we all have to find a better way of letting our people understand us and see the way we move this country forward.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable, for coming. I'm sure that for my Muslim brothers and sisters, of course, with the Honorable Deputy Minister for Local Government here, I wish you in advance happy Eid al-Fitr on Thursday, all things being equal. And for those of you taking the laws into your own hands, the Honorable Minister has spoken. You need to conduct yourself in the most civilized manner. We know you have grievances, but of course, they must be addressed through the appropriate channels. Vandalizing state properties clearly cannot be an approved method. Thanks for watching, and as always, be good and stay blessed. We are not too sure if we'll be here on Thursday, considering the fact that it's going to be a public holiday, but we'll see what would happen. We'll try and come your way with a better show. Till then, be good. Bye-bye.